how to get back to loving one another as neighbors. Lord, we thank you for removing hatred. Lord God, we thank you that you're getting us back to leaning more toward understanding the truth. Lord God, we're no longer limited in understanding that we're all created equally. Lord, we thank you that the history is revealing once again that we all have rights to be called men and women of God. Lord, we thank you that we are no longer limited to being miseducated about what the blacks have did in this United States. We're no longer limited to understanding and believing that Africa is a place of those that are uninvolved in society. Lord, we are once again reminded of the history of the Egyptians that once controlled this whole world. And so now, right now, we're learning to treat one another the way we want to be treated. We're learning to love one another the way we want to be loved. And now, acknowledging Juneteenth, Lord, you're helping us once again to understand that we can be free and still not understand our rights. We can be free and still be destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. Lord, we thank you that we have a mayor in place right now in this community that understands that if we could get our thinking right, as long as we control our thinking, we can control our own actions. So now, Lord, we thank you for informing us to let us know that we can make a difference. We can come against violence. We can stand for justice. And so as we march today, let us march with a hope that we are going to continue to be better. The best really is yet to come. Lord, we thank you for rising up leaders like Sister Karen that's bold and unafraid. We come against the spirit of fear right now. We will not allow hate to survive. We will not allow those who come to destroy us to survive. We will change those that hate us to love us. And we give you all the glory right now for canceling all the plans of the devil, taking the hate out of the hearts of the haters and replacing it with love. And we thank you and we praise you. And everybody agree with that prayer, said amen? Amen. Okay, we ready to go. We can follow.
Right, y'all. We are here. It is time. We're about 7 minutes out from New Year's Day. Should I save the horn? I can't save the horn, y'all. I can't save the horn. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it does. All right, we're about 7 minutes out from 2023. I am definitely late coming on. Normally, I do my reflection a lot earlier in the evening, but due to unforeseen situations, I'm here now. However, I am here, present, and accounted for, blessed and highly favored. I am Marwan Cameron. This is the conduit, and I'm going to see this entire year through with you. So I'm glad that you are here. I hope that everyone is safe. I hope you had a moment to reflect on your 2022. This is a very special time for me. This is what I do every year. Unfortunately, since I had to have my back procedure yesterday, I am unable to mop the floors in G2. And that is how I bring the new year in. I get on my hands and knees and I scrub the floors in there. I guess, well, metaphorically, I scrub away the year to bring in the new year clean and ready to go. But what it is for me, if you will, it's another metaphor would be like washing the feet of the people. And so for me, it just gives me a chance to reflect on what we've done, why we've done it, what direction we're going in, and what direction we want to go into for 2023. Reflecting back and getting my thoughts and whatnot ready for this conversation. was a bit illuminating. Now, unless you're keeping some type of journal, and even if you are, probably will be tremendously surprised to realize all the things that you have done over the course of the year. The people you've met, um, it's a lot, right? And the time goes fast. We look at things and it's like, well, January was here, and usually like the week might or the month might start off really quick. It's January 1st, February 1st, March 1st, and then it's like March 8th. Then all of a sudden it's like, dang, it's only like March 19th. Like this month is just dragging on and on and on. And then it's over and the next one comes. And you look up and it's like, oh man, it's June already. Oh man, it's almost Halloween. Oh man. And they quicken the pace on everything. So once that Halloween decorations are up, Thanksgiving is also there, and so is Christmas, right? They're trying to just push you through 3 months all at once. It's like, wow, can we slow down a little bit? And it's over. It's done. It's a flash. And here we are, December 31st, 2022, getting ready to enter January 1, 2023. And you're like, what happened? Time flew. I was going to do this. I was going to do that. I wanted to get this done. I didn't quite achieve this goal. I did do this. That was fantastic. I'm really proud of myself. How many of you started off really strong in your New Year's resolution, only to realize, and statistically, this holds true, right? People will get their new gym memberships, and by about March, they're not really using them anymore. They're busy. It is what it is. It's unfortunate. So, how many of you were able to have that stick to itiveness to that? I know there were a lot of things that I started off in the beginning of the year that I did not continue on with, right? And typically, what happens with me is, oh, it's so easy for me to fill it in with something else. I mean, it really is. My camera is crooked. I shouldn't tell you all that because then all you're going to see is a crooked camera too. But I moved it, and it's sitting on my PlayStation, and now it's not quite straight that way. Okay. I gotta tell you, I am tired, y'all. I'm exhausted. It has been a really long day today, but it actually has been a surprisingly rewarding day. So I'm very thankful for that. I got a surprise visitor today and spent several hours with me, and it was very illuminating. And it actually goes along with my manifesto, which is pretty awesome. We got 2 minutes left until the new year. And once we do that, I will reflect on 2022 and then go into 2023. Bring it in with you. If you are at home, raise your glass. Glass tonight is water. Bringing in the new year clean and pure, ready to go. Focus, clear eyed, on mission. Have your agenda. Please have an agenda. Have some things that you are trying to accomplish and get done this year: education, health, wealth, whatever it may be, relationship, understanding who you are, professional, personal development, your relationship with God, whatever it may be. I hope that you will embark on that journey boldly. Don't worry if you fall. The point is getting up. Please get up, but start the journey, because you cannot get up from a fall unless you start. We've got less than 60 seconds. We're almost there, y'all. We are almost there. We'll hit the horn to bring in the new year. Thank you for bringing in the new year with me. I appreciate you. All right. Hey, Cynthia. Happy New Year to you. Glad that you are well and safe. Hope that everyone is well and safe this evening. Oh, it's time, y'all. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Happy New Year. It is 2023, January 1, 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. I am Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. Gotta let y'all know this is what it is. What it is. What it shall be. What it was. All right. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I'm so glad that you are here with us. To all the acquaintance we forgot, we just lost someone in the community, and folks have lost someone throughout the country and the world for that matter. G2 alone is dealing with a lot of parents that are in the twilight who are getting ready to pass over. And so it is a very bittersweet time for a lot of us at G2. The good thing about those that are at the end of their lives is they were actually very blessed to live their very extended lives. So we're very thankful for that and appreciative of that. And having my conversation earlier with the person that I had my conversation with, for those of us that are believers, we know that we are no longer in pain. We are in a better place, and God's grace embraces us, and it should be a celebration and joy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy New Year to you too. So be happy for that person, and although you may miss them, their counsel, their smile, their laughter, whatever it is, know that they are in a better place. So one of the reasons why I'm so thankful that God took my father, and I know that where he is, and for that I have no doubt. Now there are times that I miss him and I miss his counsel when I need his counsel, because he was so sage and wise. But he is not in pain, and I know that he is doing his hallelujah dance and eating well with the angels, right? And so he would talk about that all the time, and so there's no sadness there, right? The sadness really is the selfishness for me of not being able to have that counsel, and some of the regret as an obstinate child that didn't understand what he had when his father was here. So, but even in that, the stories and the lessons just hold true, even more so in his not being here. But if you believe that our loved ones watch over us, then it is what it is. So please be joyful, have a joyful heart. I love how those in New Orleans celebrate the passing, where it is a celebration and a party. It's not time to be sad and have tears, but tears of joy and the celebration of life and things anew. And just on cue, as those that pass, there are new that are born and brought into the world. So that is truly a blessing. We've got a lot of work to do in 2023, y'all. We did some things. I met some new people this year, and I'm grateful for meeting you. I've had trials and tribulations and things. I've got relationships that I have to mend and fix in 2023. So I've got goals for me to work on, and I'm excited to work on it, to have an opportunity to get it right, because that's one of the things that we ask for, right? One more day to get right what we didn't get right today. So that is a blessing. And so right now I feel rejuvenated, restored, and ready to go. Even while I'm saying I'm tired. I am tired, y'all. I am so tired. But it's such a blessing and an honor. How could I not come on no matter how I'm feeling, right? I mean, how hard is it? All I got to do is sit here and talk into the microphone. What a gift. What a blessing. So hey, it don't matter if I'm tired or not. How you look at things. How you look at things can make your life uh, a lot different on how you go through it, right? You get to choose that. You get to choose that. But let's reflect on 2022. Uh, G2, Gather Together, Grow Together, will be 5 years old on February 8th. That is our date. Shout out to G2. It is difficult for a business to survive the first few years, statistically. To come through COVID is even more difficult. And then to be a nonprofit can be even more challenging. And if you understand the Great Kitsap Great Give, there are like 400 or 500 nonprofit organizations to give to. So that is, hey there, Kendra, Happy New Year to you. That can be very difficult, right? And in our first few years, we actually kind of did things differently, right? We're kind of a working organization, so we didn't really operate off of grants and contracts. We actually went out and made our money in order to do our mission. And so we didn't start bringing in grants or really even going and applying for grants until around COVID, which is very interesting. So it's kind of a flip model. Um, Instead of creating an organization and applying for grants and things like that, the Bank of Cameron is what funded G2. So I'm about 6 figures in, creating this thing. But for me, uh, I tell you, you either win or you learn. And I was very convicted on G2 and what it is that I wanted to do in this community. And to me, there's so many things that you spend money on in lifetime. Um, so many things that we've wasted money on in our lifetime that we don't realize until we mature, right? Are we materialistic? Are we, do we have these superficial things that we just really don't need in our lives, that really don't improve our lives, right? Learning that relationships are so much more important and experiences than the material things that you accumulate. And you can only, well, maybe I shouldn't say you can only, but oftentimes you can. It's easier for you to understand that if you've gone through and had material things, right? Because if you don't know and if you didn't have it, then it may be hard to understand because you still have that want, you still have that desire to possess those things and do those things. Um, and so I was blessed to experience those things and understand that, man, once you get what was that, Jack and the Beanstalk? Once you get up there, it's not what you think it is. And it doesn't necessarily give you the joy and the satisfaction. Now it could, for you. But when you think about Maslow's hierarchy of self-actualization, the point is to be, being the best version of yourself. And for me, that is what I think I am becoming. I'm not there, and I will never get there while I walk on this plane of existence, which is awesome, right? Because then it is always this pursuit of doing better. This person shared with me today, I think he was talking about Maya Angelou, and he says, when you know good, then you do good. And when you know better, you do better. And I thought that was really interesting, right? Uh, so yeah, it's like I guess that is true, right? If you know better, then you do better. You know good. If you're doing good, then you do good. So I like that attitude. And so my prayer for you this year is for you to, find purpose if you do not have that, whatever that is, and find joy in it. And, allow yourself to do that regardless of what anyone else thinks. So if I don't agree with what it is that you're doing, but that is what is making you content, do it because that's what is making you happy and that is what is fulfilling you. So that is my prayer for you. uh, I hope that you and pray for your health, for your understanding. Give yourself grace, push yourself, set goals, and try to achieve those goals. But let's look back on 2022. I'm not going to go super deep into this, but one of the things that was really amazed for me to discover was, well, let me tell you a quick story. So when I started this podcast, it was during COVID, and the whole reason that the conduit exists, the reason why this podcast exists, was when COVID hit. Right before COVID, we were taking vanfuls of folks and doing concessions for Seahawks games and Sounders games and concerts. We're talking about 4 vans, 35 individuals. Our office was full of people. Um, Feeding folks in the bottom of New Horizons Church in the old soup kitchen in Kitsap Rescue Mission on Wheaton Way, right? Full of folks. So all these things were happening. It was just such a buzz with people everywhere. And so when COVID hit and we had to shut our doors, we scrambled, right? Are we going to close? What's going to happen? We're such a resilient species as humans, right? Many of us don't even remember what it was like when that ticker was coming up and it was like, man, it's 1,000 deaths a day, and what's gonna happen? And everything was closed, and you couldn't go to work, and it was a scary time, And I'm speaking from the space of a survivor, right? And I actually don't know anyone directly who died because of COVID, right? That's a blessing. And many people, unfortunately, did. They were close. Maybe they lost the matriarch. Maybe they lost the patriarch. Maybe they lost the breadwinner. Maybe they lost multiple, right? There are stories of families, being devastated by COVID. And that time of uncertainty and that fear and comorbidities, right? It's like, man, I got high blood pressure, I'm morbidly obese, I got sarcoidosis, like, oh my God, this is terrifying. You got to wear the mask, and this mask ain't the right mask. And, then folks are fighting and they don't want to wear a mask. And then I got COVID. Ooh, Lord have mercy. I got COVID. And I tell you what, that first week, I actually thought that I was going to die. I was that sick. And you can look back at some of the podcasts where I actually was coming on and I'm just pouring down. I'm looking like death warmed over. And, for me, it was work to the end, you know, always operate from a sense of urgency. You got to keep giving. There's something to give. There's something that someone out there needs to hear and needs that information. Maybe they'll get it later, but you got to get it out there now because you clearly may not have tomorrow at this point. So much uncertainty, right? G2 went to making hand sanitizer and making masks. And I don't know if you remember those times, but all of a sudden, getting the alcohol was hard to do. Right? We ended up buying Everclear, in the beginning because you couldn't get alcohol at the percentage necessary, and buying empty containers to make hand sanitizer and do the things. I took a job back with the United States Navy to help keep the doors open. The bills are still coming, right? The rent is due on the building. You still got lights, you still got water, you still got internet, you still have you still have fuel, right? We're still driving. And so it was definitely a time of uncertainty. But you're on this mission, you're on this path. You're going to go forward in faith. We're transporting people. We were transporting people with COVID because that's what our contract called for. And we made it through. Matter of fact, if any G2 driver is on right now, they might be in bed. I don't think any of our drivers got COVID during that time. If I'm not mistaken, the one person that did get COVID was the person who wasn't driving. What a blessing that was. We were providing food to the Q&I shelter, the quarantine and isolation shelter. And we were providing food every single day, right? Multiple meals. And we were able to do that. And that kept us going. And it helped us to continue to do our mission. And what a blessing that was. And even with that, even with doing those things and coming through, again, the podcast was created because we had to lock our doors. So all those folks that were coming in to come and do concessions, to come and help prepare meals and things of that nature, we had to shut down and just become the core group that did things. We couldn't just have the doors open and have folks come in and sip coffee and socialize and just have a place to be connected. We couldn't do that. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to create this podcast. Folks are reaching out to me. They had questions, they had concerns, they had fears. They were lonely, they were isolated. So it was just, come on. And if y'all remember, it was 10 questions, right? What makes a good friend? What's a good relationship? You know? And it was just trying to get to know people. And I would interview folks that were experiencing homelessness. We had one family that was staying in a car that had ran out of gas and live on air. We had Rob went out and drove out and got them some fuel and gave them some money. We had a commissioner of the county come on. We would interview everyone and just have them come on and ask them the same questions, former students of mine, and just create a space where people can have conversation, and interact. And through that, all of a sudden started, having other discussions and different topics and doing the Veterans Award Show, Kitsap County Black Veterans Award Show. And one of the things that I mentioned in there is I encourage people to meet 5 new people per month. And that seems like a lot, but it really isn't, right? It's like about, one person a week, typically. And being intentional on meeting people. And that's truly important on the other side. It's one of the reasons why last year, and we'll get into that, we were doing the neighborhood barbecue. And so every month, we bought some grills, right? Big huge grills and a griddle, and we pop them in the back of a pickup truck and drive to a different neighborhood and then barbecue hamburgers, hot dogs, have salad, soda, water, all that stuff in the hopes that folks in their neighborhood would come out and fellowship and break bread and meet each other or reintroduce themselves to each other because they have been shut in for the last few years. What do you do? What skills and abilities that you have? Oh, I'm a nurse. Oh, I'm a construction worker. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. Okay. I know who my neighbor is. And hey, good fences make good neighbors. All your neighbors aren't good, but you need to know that too, right? Because when these things happen, it was very isolating. Who is there to support? Who is your emergency contact? Do you have a phone tree? I'm gonna call Kendra. Kendra's gonna call Carol. Carol's gonna call Cynthia. Right? Are we checking in? All right. What do you need? Can we get you these things? Oh, you need toilet paper. You need food. What are these things that are set up? And one of the things that we did not get done last year is I wanted to work, really closely with an emergency management plan. I also wanted to get into gardening, and those are two things that did not happen that I'm very disappointed about. But there's this year to focus on that. All right, the texts are coming in fast and furious. I'm gonna go ahead and tell this man that I love him. Love you, brother. This is my oldest friend that I have known since I was 9 years old. I will be 50 in 23 days. And I've known him since I was 9. So 41 years. Um, wow, that's amazing. And happy New Year, Mama Wong. Mama Wong is one of my surrogate mothers. Happy New. Sorry about that. Sometimes you know how you try to type and then you start typing what you're saying. Happy New Year, Mama Wong. Here we go. All right. So where was I? Making those connections, meeting the people, creating that space. So important. I took some time and I'm going to share this with you. I wanted to make it bigger so couldn't see quite as much as it rolls out, but probably doesn't really matter, right? Y'all just want to see the thing. Just show it already. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. See if how that works. It's looking pretty good here. All right, let me. Whoa. All right, how about that big? All right, might be a little too big, but that's okay. So what I want to show you is the intention on taking a personal goal of meeting 5 people to meeting more people or more organizations. I talked about this a little bit at the beginning of yesterday's manifesto conversation of the intentionality of working with other organizations in a tangible way, not really a superficial way, but really doing something. So let me go ahead and share this list with you. And this isn't an exhaustive list, which is pretty surprising also. So we're part of 211. So when I come on and I talk about the emergency shelters being the severe weather shelter being open, right? You don't have to call G2's number. You don't have to dial 360-373-3000. You can call 211. Didn't foresee that several years ago. That's a thing. Agape, so important to serve this community in the way that we do. The Bainbridge Island Museum of Arts. Now, this one, I've got to give that to Akuye Vargas. The only time Bainbridge Island is to go to the casino, and it's not something that I do often. Or back in '06, we got our wedding cake out there in Bainbridge Island or getting off the ferry there. But there's some great folks out there. And last year, we were at the Bainbridge Island Museum every Friday for Black History Month, meeting new artists, which was really awesome and, a gift. I didn't grow up appreciating art. So that exposed me to artists and what was important to them and why it was important, why they did what they did, how that went along with the social justice issues that they may have been advocating for. And what a different appreciation that I got from that. And having a platform allows me to share that out, which is really powerful. The Bremerton Housing Authority, of course, as you know, they come on every Wednesday. And what is super important about this particular relationship here is if you remember, the Section 8 rolls would open and they would open for a finite amount of time. And it was like calling into a radio show. You better know someone that could keep you in the loop and let you know, and then you better make sure that you have the opportunity to get that done quick, fast, in a hurry. Because if you miss it, it's going to close. And we know how long it's going to take for you to get your name called on those rolls. It truly is a lottery in every sense of the word. So the stakes are high. That's very stressful. So working with the housing authority and having them come on to give information, hey, so many times they actually announced, hey, the Section 8 roll is going to open up. Rent Cafe is going to start on this day. And they would tell us that before other people knew. Cutting out the middleman, so to speak. Showing people how to apply, where to get their questions asked, bringing the executive director on so folks can ask questions directly. You don't typically have access in that way. And so that's a huge equity issue. You know what they say, not what you know, it's who you know. A lot of times it is who you know, unfortunately. Hold on there. You don't want to see me take Flonase. It's who you know. Equity is creating that level playing field so everyone can get that information in a timely manner so they have the opportunity to take advantage of it. Equity, showing people how to do the things. It's like, oh, just go to this website and fill this out. That can be very terrifying and stressful. A lot of anxiety around that because I need to be able to have this opportunity to apply for this grant, to sign up for this program, to sign up for this service. All right. Well, we're going to demystify it. I'm going to go through this step by step with you. So that's a huge one. The Bremerton Municipal Court. We think of Many of us think of the court system as being negative, right? Systemic racism, institutionalized things, the school to prison pipeline. And through this last year, we were able to look at the court in a very different lens, right? We've got Judge Flood, who was elected as the first uh, black woman judge here in Kitsap County, right? We're able to cover that history. We were able to advocate for that history, if you remember, right? She was being attacked. It was in the Sun. We did a few podcasts, and folks came on in support of Tracy Flood. And, you know, on the other side, oh, now she's elected. Now she is a judge. And she's having schools, kids come in to have mock court trials, right? Showing them how the judicial system works. Having the Washington State Patrol come in with their drug dogs, right? Giving them a different experience and showing them that there's so much more, right? And being able to be a part of that. So very different. We had Commissioner Shane Seaman on, who is now Judge Seaman, as he ran for office. So a very different lens of the Bremerton Municipal Court. Catalyst, Central Kitsap School District, a lot of drama going on there in those school board meetings. A lot of issues, a lot of concerns, a lot of parents that are, I was a latchkey kid, right? Come home, you were expected to do what you had to do. You don't answer that door for no one. And you better not answer that door. Shoot, sometimes you couldn't answer the phone. But you need to come home. You need to get your homework done. You get yourself a snack. You need to make sure you behave yourself and do what you're supposed to do. Because parents are doing what they can to survive and provide for their families. Well, I don't have time to be part of the PTA. I don't have time to go to a school board meeting, right? 6 to 9:30 p.m., sometimes later. So we started covering that. There was very little advocation from the Black community present there. So who's gonna, provide this space, this information? Who's gonna be the champion there? So we started covering those and putting those onto the conduit. City council, just really a big one. And that's a big one for me because I didn't care about any of these things, right? I just didn't. When I got married in 2006, and I didn't have a honeymoon. I immediately went to work for the Navy College office down in Bremerton. And in that, I'm focused on, active duty, those that are getting ready to separate, veterans, dependents. That's my focus. That's my job. I'm not thinking about elections and, local issues, advocating for that, understanding what those things are. When I left the Navy, I went and started teaching at Olympic College. Well, I started off as an advisor, then started teaching. Again, those things weren't important to me. And, shout out to Drayton. I'll give him. He would tell me all the time, "Oh, you need to do this. You need to, uh, really pay attention to this stuff, and you need to get involved." And what I told him back in probably 2013, 2014, maybe 2014, 2015, he's school board president back then, is I don't have time for that, right? My job is to focus on the students that are in front of me, to advocate for them, to advocate for their learning, to advocate for digital literacy, to advocate uh, for their entrepreneurship, as I taught in business management. So to give them the knowledge, skills, and abilities so they could, provide for themselves and their family. And so for a lot of justice impacted people, entrepreneurship is their way, one of the best ways for them to be able to do what they have to do, right? Exercise their own sovereignty. and not worry about, oh, they're not going to hire me because I have this record and I've got this, that, and the other. And so I took that very seriously. It's like I don't have time to focus on that. But in this last year, I got to understand why this is important, regardless of what it is that we do. And you started hearing me say things like, power is taken, it is not given. I don't say it all the time now, right? Because I want to say different things that I think are important. Okay, you got that message. What is a new message that I can share? I'm blessed and highly favored. I don't say that all the time. Hope you say that. Hope you feel that. But power is taken, it is not given. But the thing is another saying, knowledge is power. Well, it's only power if you use the knowledge. You can amass all this knowledge, but if you're not going to use any of it, what good is it? So, how does the city run? What does the city do? Is the city doing and advocating for you? What are your councilmen and councilwomen doing in your district? As a whole, what is the mayor doing? So we started covering these things, right? And providing access and information to people. We started speaking when there was public comment was available, right? Showing people how to write an email and contact city council or contact the mayor or talk about an issue. And in that, we were rewarded oftentimes because although they don't typically talk back to you, they just say thank you for your comment and they move on. So many times they actually did respond to us and say, hey, well, this is what's going on. We're looking into this. Thank you for your comment. And there would be a conversation, a dialogue in that. And that is the power of exercising the power and the voice that you have and showing folks that, yes, you can. It sounds so cliche because that's Obama's thing, right? Yes, you can. Yes, we can. And so that's super important. And that is tiresome, right? Covering city council every other Wednesday. Yeah, that's a hard one because my Wednesdays are my long day. But at the end of the year, it was budget time, and we wanted to advocate for bathrooms for the unhoused down on ML King, right? So have the audacity, have the unmitigated gall to invite a whole bunch of folks together, a bunch of stakeholders, get them into a space, feed them, because folks will come for food, and say, hey, this is what we need. How can we make this happen? We don't know if it's going to be successful, and we're still fighting. But hey, you know what? They earmarked $10,000 for bathrooms for down on ML King. Progress. You don't know what you can do if you don't try it. And sadly, so many times we come up with so many different reasons on why they're not going to do this. There's no way that this can be done. This ain't going to happen. These people feel this way. And so we say no, and we come up with all these scenarios to not even try. To not even try. Power is taken and is not given. They're not just going to wake up and say, you know what? We just need to do the right thing. And we know exactly what it is that you say that you want and you need, and we're just going to do it. No, that's not how life works. And so showing that you can do that. The lady that advocates for the Pledge of Allegiance, right? She can be, what is the word? A nuisance, if you will, right? But she's entitled to her 3 minutes. And sometimes she uses that 3 minutes to do the Pledge of Allegiance, right? Power is taken and is not given. So, city council says they're not going to, stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I've got 3 minutes. Public comment is open. That's how I'm going to use my time. And then I'm going to give you some exposition to go along with that. Now, how you like that? And she does what she has to do. Now, they're not going to change and do the Pledge of Allegiance. But in her mind, she's winning. And there are people that support that, right? Again, dare, have the unmitigated gall, challenge, question, advocate. You can. And so while she may come off as I'll be pejorative, a crazy person, she's doing what she believes. Got to respect that. Do what you believe. That's how progress is made. So that's a big one. Of course, county housing, commerce, we've had a number of grants. Stay tuned. This year, we have a grant uh, to work with taxes for folks. So you will see that start to roll out here probably late February as tax season will be coming upon us. DCYF, formerly known as CPS, the Department of Child and Youth and Family. Well, I've always thought of CPS as being something negative. So, how do you create something positive from a negative? Getting involved, advocating, supporting families, understanding what it is they do. Are they as nefarious as they came off as? Are they turning over a new leaf? Are they trying to do things differently? Are they trying to break up families, and particularly black families? Are they trying to do something else? Are they trying to find other ways to support families? Well, you can either attack from the outside, not knowing and just having making assumptions, or you can get involved. You can work with folks. So we actually been working with the grant from DCYF, and it has been very impactful to the people that we've been able to help and support. Everything through helping, pay mortgages and or gas, right, and everything in between. It's a powerful opportunity. Doc loves the kids, goes without saying. All the great stuff that he does. Ebenezer didn't even know this was at the end of the year, fourth quarter of the year. Did not meet anyone from Ebenezer until the block party uh, that Kitsap Black Student Union put on. Right? Didn't even know who they were, and got approached by them, and hey, can you come down and maybe let us know what type of system we can use so that we can put our services online for our parishioners uh, and other guests to come in and watch. And so I went and did that for them, and then they literally followed everything that I said to do, and purchased everything, and uh, called me in and said, "Hey, could you come and help us to set it up?" Went in, set it all up for them. I still get phone calls. Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? But now they've had I think they're on their second service. Their first service, I was really, I had COVID. But that's awesome. And now we're doing some work together for the ML King celebration at Fairgrounds. It's awesome. So a new relationship was created and cultivated. It's the oldest black church in Kitsap County. I didn't even know that. Right? Didn't know anyone there. The little white building right across the street from the Marvin Williams Center. And it's so interesting that in this county where we're 3%, and it's a small county, but it's also spread out. But we're pretty tight where we're located. And I drive past that place every time I'm going to the office. I typically drive past Ebenezer and Marvin Williams Center. I know people at Marvin Williams Center. I've done things at the Marvin Williams Center. Never done anything at Ebenezer. Oh, that's changed. That's awesome. Same with the manual. Foundation for Homeless and Poverty Management. This is an awesome story, you know, because the founders of this organization were board members on G2. And now they've gone off and they're doing their thing. And it's different and it's great. And so to see that come into fruition and blossom and watch how they've been able to support and bless other folks has been a great thing. And so you can look and you can say, "Hey, what kind of fruit?" What do they say? You could tell the tree by the fruit they bear. Well, you can look at the fruit and you can see the tree front and centered. Again, shout out to Kitsap Black Student Union. This was a happy accident. We were just asked to cover a transportation justice event. They were coming out to speak at the United Way. And so I just went there to set up the cameras, and some of my folks came. And happened, it's transportation justice. We do transportation. So, a couple board members came too. And so, but again, we're just there to record the event, start having a conversation. It's like, hey, you guys are doing what we do. You should consider joining. We did. I went through the interview process. It was a one-on-one, then it was a panel. We got in, and let me tell you how the blessing worked. So they have a grant that they give away, I think, maybe once a quarter or something like that. And that was the deadline. They said, well, because you have been accepted in, you're in now, but there's a grant, but this is the last day. So they sent the grant. And I was I was a little worried because it was like, oh, I'm waiting. She was going to send me the grant information, and it didn't come early, right? And I'm like, man, I got to get it in by the end of the day. So I'd finally come in, and so I write the grant out really quick, right? And we end up getting the grant. So we're in, we're new, we're the newest newbies, and we apply for a grant on the last day of the grant, and we actually get the grant. Can't make it up, right? So that's awesome. Then we're able to participate in a retreat that they had at the beginning of December. But not only that, but they hired us to provide transportation to the entire retreat to get everyone from the hotel in Seattle to the venue and back and forth over 2 days. Well, that's one of the biggest things that we've done. We'd never done anything like that before. Oh, and hey, by the way, while that's happening, the severe weather shelters were open here in Bremerton because the weather was bad. So while we're transporting 60 people back and forth to the event and or their family members for those that brought, their loved ones with them, we're still here operating in Kitsap County and doing all of our regular rides for KMH or regular people that just call in and getting folks to the severe weather shelter. And we didn't miss a beat. And so we were able to do both. And all of our customers got to where they needed to go on time. No one was late. Everyone was happy. What a blessing that was. God's Broken Home University, able to support them, the Island Festival, at the second Black Collective meeting. I missed it. And I had every intention on being there. And Brother Bailey called and said, hey, Brother Mar, I need you to come down. 2 kids overdosed this last week. Can you please cover this rally? And it was their kind of their grand opening, their ribbon cutting. And so I was like, yeah, I'll be there. And that's why I missed the second Black Collective meeting. I don't think everyone knows that. And so, B1, I definitely am prioritizing my community for sure. But this was serious, right? And so I thought that was a good enough reason for me to miss that second meeting. So that is not my intent to miss or fill it with other things. But I felt like that met the level of importance or crisis, if you will. Group Health Foundation, they gave us $250,000. Shout out to Group Health to do our work, which helped us to buy our first wheelchair accessible van. And then, also helped us, with our mission to get our first 15 passenger van, right? You got to think, we had 4 vans, then we went down to 2, then we made some more purchases, right? But we were not able to provide transportation to someone who was in a wheelchair, someone that had difficulty ambulating and needed a ramp to get in and out of a vehicle, right? Maybe they need a wheelchair that they could get up and they can, get into a vehicle. Some folks just needed to just stay in the wheelchair. Well, we have that capability now. That is quite the blessing. It's been a goal for years, and we were able to achieve that. You know, there are places and events that people want to go to, and they've got a bunch of people that need to go there, right? It's like, hey, you need, instead of 5 or 6 vans, you need vans that can carry multiple people all at the same time. And while you're doing that, you still need to satisfy all your other customers in other places. So it's one thing to take your entire fleet of 5 or 6 vehicles and get everyone where they need to go. But while that's happening, that means you got to suspend services over here. Well, we don't have to do that anymore because we got a 15 passenger van. And so we're able to take like Kitsap Black Student Union to the Puyallup Fair, and you know, you'll see my Mai's on there for the Winter Bash, and set up as a shuttle and get kids to the event so that they can participate. Hope 360. Well, you already know all the stuff that Deborah Jackson does. So that goes without saying. The industrial workers of the world. I didn't know anything about what the IWW was and what they did, but that the avocation, right? And they have you know, they advocate for workers' rights and having that education and providing that information, which is truly important, and having access to information that we may typically not have, right? How do you unionize? Why would you unionize? What do you do if you are not getting, um, if you're not being treated fairly by your employer? That's powerful to give people access to folks like that. Juneteenth. Last year was the first year that I participated in Juneteenth. The video that you saw was the video of me recording the beginning of the march down in downtown, well, just out of downtown Bremerton, right? I didn't believe in Juneteenth. Now, the thing is I don't believe in everything that the community does. But that doesn't matter. My philosophy on that, I mean, would have to be something that I just really was opposite of my own value system, right? Something that I was just really hard lined about. But for me, I just believe, I've got my own thoughts on Juneteenth. And so for me, it wasn't something that I was going to celebrate. Um, I thought that it was performative and it was just to get votes. And that's why President Biden pushed that through. And as such, I didn't feel any need to support that. Right? Maybe I can change this, make myself a little bit bigger. See if that'll work. That might be better, right? So I felt some kind of way about that, right? And then I watched some of our folks, you know, to me, I thought it should have a Juneteenth should have this space of reverence, right? This is, hey, slaves were freed, but many didn't hear about it until a lot later. And so you got folks twerking and doing all kinds of stuff, and Walmart, making money and selling Juneteenth ice cream. Just all these crazy things were going on. And so I was very much against the celebration of Juneteenth. And I would equate that to, people twerking for the Holocaust anniversary. Like we couldn't even fathom that. And so that was my viewpoint on there. However, even though that was my viewpoint, people that I respect felt like that was important for them. And it was something that they were celebrating, something that they had instituted for 20 years in this county. And so it didn't matter what I thought about it. It was important to them. And they wanted us to cover it, which meant it gets covered. Right? And so I hope that people can embrace those things in 2023. You may not agree with uh, what the event is. You may not even agree or get along with the people. But if they're doing something good, you have and need to support it. It's just that simple. Sometimes the thing, if you don't have something good to say, don't say anything at all. You know, okay. So it is what it is. Now I had a space to have that dialogue, and I got to talk to, some of the founding folks of Juneteenth. Shout out to JD Sweet, and I shared with him my concerns on it, and he gave me that history because he's a historian. Shout out to JD Sweet, who I hadn't met. Right, I heard about him. I hadn't met him. Matter of fact, my daughter had met him because he visited her classroom. Right. Okay. So, hey, this is how I'm thinking. Talk to me. Let's have a conversation and a dialogue. And he tells me on why it's a celebration and why Black people celebrate it and why it's important and why they do it the way they do. And I'm like, that's interesting. I can take that information in, and that gives me a different insight on it. Just as I started this off about the folks that we lost, right? To all the acquaintance we forgot. And it being a celebration, some people are um, very down, very depressed, very sad because they lost a loved one. Whereas I was saying in New Orleans, their thing is it's more of a celebration. And if you believe in God, right? And if you know that this person was living a Christian life, then you should be feeling great, right? They're no longer in pain, and you know where they're at. So it's the same thing with Juneteenth. It's like, oh, I just didn't see it that way. Okay, okay, right? And even though I'm not still 100% on there, I'm not just so convicted, right? I could go through Juneteenth 2023, and if I didn't do anything with it, it wouldn't affect me either way. I don't feel like, man, I've got to celebrate this, and this is super important. However, for those that do, I respect and honor that. It's easy to do. It really is. And you know what? That's not a cross that I have to bear, right? Let me see. Let me put my hat on. I'm gonna have to put it away here. But if this is the sack, one of the sacks of our burdens that we carry, unburden yourself in 2023. We have so many of these that we carry around. And our shoulders are weighed down. We're stressed out, we're tired, we're fatigued. We're Atlas holding up the world. Unburden yourself with the things that just don't matter. You want to celebrate that? I love you. I like you. I respect you. Okay. Do you? I support that. I applaud it. What do you need me to do? You need me to leverage my knowledge, skills, and abilities to help you do that? Sure. Let's do it. And that's gone. The chip on your shoulder. There's so many chips that folks aren't effective. About people that and I'll digress here in a second, but there's some things in our community where it's like, hey sister, why don't you smile? Like, don't tell me to smile, I'm dealing with this, that, and the other. And we do it too, right? We mean mug each other. I'm at Walmart and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And sometimes folks will speak at you. Other times you'll stop them in their tracks because they'll still be walking. You're walking, through a person. You're walking in the opposite direction, but you're coming toward each other, and you speak. And if you ever seen someone as you're walking past, and you say, "Hey, how you doing?" and it stops them, and then they turn around, they acknowledge because they're so not used to you speaking, to being spoken to and acknowledged, that it takes a while for their brain to recognize this person spoke to me and said hello, said, hey, how you doing? I had to say something. Hey, I'm doing fine. How you doing? Sometimes it actually pisses him off and irritates him. And I'm like, what are you carrying? Unburden yourself. I just said hello, hi. No expectation. There's no want. There's no desire. It's just, I see you. Hi. And other folks, it's like, oh, hey, how you doing, brother? Hey, how you doing, sister? It takes so little effort to make a change and a difference in someone's day. I was just talking about that earlier. Brother Hank, shout out to Hank. And we were sharing stories of impacting people's lives at grocery stores or in places like that. And I shared a story on a gentleman who just had this crazy look on his face, and he's the one that checks your receipt at the end, right? And you know how we feel. Some of us will feel like, they just checking the receipt because I'm black, you know. And what's so funny is, I have a tie on, right? So when I walk up, they will ask, doesn't matter what they are, white, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter. They'll ask for their receipt. They see my tie. It's like, oh, thank you, sir. Have a good day. you know, and I won't even show it to them. And I'll smile. Sometimes we'll try to mean mug, like, don't even ask me for my receipt, you know. And but other times, it's like, look, he's there, he's doing his job, right? And so if I'm about it and I haven't buried my receipt away, I'll just hold it out. I've got it. It's like, oh, this time, I'll just show him the receipt. And so you could see that he was going through something. It had nothing to do with me because he hadn't even seen me yet, right? And I'm coming because you can't go out of the center doors. You have to go out the far left and right. So I'm looking up. He's dealing with the people that are in front of him, but the look on his face is just, he's dejected and distressed, whatever. He's going through something. And I was like, hey, you having a hard day, huh? He says, yeah, it ain't a great day. I was like, man, I hope your day gets better. When do you get off? You get off in a couple hours? I was like, no, I got, he had several hours left. I was like, well, hang in there. It'll be over soon. And he's just kind of like, yeah, all right. So I leave. I happened to go to Walmart the very next day, and there he was again. As I said to him, hey, how you doing? Did your day, is today, any better than yesterday? And he smiled and was like, I remembered him, remembered the conversation, and stopped to check in on him. I do that with folks in the cashier all the time. They had a bad experience with the person in front. It's like, hey, hang in there. And they smile and they appreciate it. You know, oh, we don't have this. Oh, we're out of bags. Oh, we're out of, the the receipt tape is out. They're having some issue. They got to call the manager over. They're stressed out. Right? It's like, hey, it's gonna be okay. Don't even worry about it. Give them that grace. We're so powerful. Get that Black Student Union shout out to the KBSU. Uh, Great connection. We're working on quite a few things here in 2023. And what is awesome about the Black Student Union is the novelty of it, right? When I was at the college, the there was a student union, Black Student Union there, and it was very hard to get it going and to keep it going, right? Because we're um, a transient community, right? With our veteran population, folks coming in and out of college, different goals, right? Different priorities. And we're also a small subset of the population here in Kitsap County. And so to create something external from the school where you can get bodies from all these different places so, all the students can participate should they want to is an awesome thing. That's that thinking outside of the box. We're nothing if not innovative, for sure. And so we look forward to supporting them. Kitsap advocating for immigrant rights and equality. Again, I've talked about how I feel about immigration on here. And so some things are counter, right? Ultimately. But I do care about people. And their mission and their things are also important, right? Actually, really nice. Really nice folks. These are some of the nicest people I met, actually. And that's saying a lot because I've met a lot of nice people. These are some of the nicest people I've met. KCR, a lot of work with them. Shout out to Matt, especially. Uh, he even was coming on and doing a Star Wars show with us. So, went beyond just doing our work, right? Like, hey, you have this common interest outside of work. I've got this common interest outside of work. Yeah, we'll do a little podcast on Star Wars. We had a blast. His brother came on, he's got his family in there, his best friend. It was great. And it's the building of relationships. And I think about how that was in 2021 and the issues that we were going through advocating uh, for the Midway Hotel and all that stuff that was going on. Kitsap Sun is sitting in G2 and all these people in here. And oh man, it was crazy times in 21. But in 22, it's like, okay, there are these issues, right? And, KCR be the first one to tell you everything they do isn't perfect and they've made mistakes. They're still making mistakes and they're trying to get it better. But you also have to give people the space to grow and do better, right? It's one thing to chastise and just, you did this wrong and yada, 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 yada. Well, are you going to allow them to do better? Or are you just going to keep berating and beating them down? I would say that that is not effective. That if you do that, probably only going to get so far. And so there has to be balance. Hold folks accountable, but then also support the good things that they're doing and build relationship. Two things can happen simultaneously, but oftentimes we only do the one. We're going to hold you accountable or we're just going to be cool, right? And we're going to be cool and then we're not going to call you out when there's something that's not right. Well, that's not helpful. You're just going to allow people to just do whatever they do. And that's not good. But the other side isn't good either, right? We're just going to hold you accountable and that's it. Yep, that's what you do. That's your job. You better do right. And that's it. That's not helpful. Build a relationship. You can do both at the same time. And when you build trust and you build respect, you say, hey, I didn't like this. Why did this happen this way? Well, I'm giving you an opportunity. I'm not making assumptions. I'm asking questions, right? Because this looks like how it was before, where this was something bad, right? But instead of just making that assumption, I'm going to ask a question. Well, this is what it was. And maybe it was, some of those same old behaviors. But more often than not, it's, this thing slipped between through the cracks. Or this actually wasn't us, but this was, the county, or this was, the feds, and how they want things done. This isn't us at all. Right. And so giving that grace and that patience and not making those assumptions, the same things we would want, then we can do. And that helps to build a relationship. And or if something happens, you have someone to go to and you know that they are going to address the situation. That's huge. That's huge. Didn't know who Kitsap E-Race was. A lot of good folks there. Kitsap Housing and Homeless Coalition. It's so funny hearing stories from them when we first started G2. They were meeting in the Salvation Army. We actually were selling bento boxes back then. And I think we gave them a salmon dinner. So I came in, presented who G2 was, fed everyone. And because I'm the person from the organization that typically attends those meetings, I just got too busy, right? We're a working board. I'm a working executive director. And so it couldn't go, right? Actually, in some ways, I actually forgot what KHHC was, right? And so I ended up back in a meeting for whatever reason, just ended up there. And folks were like, oh, I remember you. You came and you brought us the food and you told us this, that, and the other. Like, oh, dang. I did, huh? Okay, yeah, yeah. I do remember that. And you had this person with you, and they just told it like it was. So it was memorable, right? Which was one of the reasons that I wanted to do that anyway, because people weren't going to forget. And they ended up giving us an award this year. So shout out to the Kitsap Housing and Homeless Coalition. And so it is nice to be recognized for the work that you do. Kitsap Immigration Assistance Center. Um, supporting them. Kids Up Long Term Aging and Care. We haven't, done a lot with them. One thing that you need to know is currently, right now, we are under contract with them. If you are elderly or disabled and you want to get a booster or get vaccinated, we can provide free transportation to you. And we hope that you would take advantage and say, hey, I'm going to get my booster at Safeway, or I'm going to get my COVID shot at Walmart because I want to get some shopping done. And you can do two things at once, right? Because it doesn't cost you anything. So take advantage of that. So if you want to get a booster or if you want to get vaccinated, 360-373-3000. And if you're elderly or disabled, we can take care of that for you transportation wise for free. So that's awesome. Kitsap Mental Health, we've been working with them for a while. Shout out to Kitsap Mental Health. One of the things is when I think this was in 21, when Pendleton Place, they were advocating for that. The director came over and presented to us at G2. Hey, this is what Pendleton Place is. She did the PowerPoint for us and shared that information. One of the things that we're able to do is when the severe weather shelters are open, right? Uh, Folks have a hard time getting around. Many of the cab companies stopped operating, right, during this ice storm and the snow. We did not. We never shut down. We were also taking employees from Kitsap Mental Health to work, right? That's an important job. They need to get there. Kitsap Public Health, right? We weren't working with them. Somehow we got invited to be a part of the Equity Collaborative, and now we're a part of that, right? And we got Dr. Gibb coming on. When they had the mini grant, we talked about that. We had that $30,000 grant. We went over those things. When they needed, they had a board seat they were trying to fill. We had Dr. Gibb come on. I actually went over the application on what it would take to fill that out. These weren't things that we were doing before, right? Exposing the community to agencies that they normally wouldn't have access to, providing information. We would go and we would look at the dashboard during COVID, right? Like, hey, the numbers are up, the numbers are down. This is where it's at. Went over it, showed you how to interpret those things, right? And then use myself as kind of a case study, if you will. Hey, Dr. Gibb, I got COVID. This is what's going on. How do I take care of myself? What should I do? How long am I not going to be infectious for? When should I get a booster? And asking questions. Hey, doc, what's RSV? Because that's running around here. That's different. That's awesome. Kitsap Regional Library, you already know that's great. Shout out to the library. Now, our adult librarian, Priya, is coming on and sharing all the wonderful things that the library is. What's great is, when I was doing this, I had no idea I would end up being on the board for the Kitsap Regional Library. So if you go into any of the 9 libraries, you'll see my pictures up with the other board members there. That was so far from anything in my frontal view, peripheral view, wasn't on the back burner, wasn't anywhere, right? Like, library is awesome, but that opportunity came. And if you know me, then you know that I'm not big on being on boards. And the reason that is I don't think anyone should be on a number of boards because I think there should be a diversity of thought on there, right? I think in a very particular way. And so if I'm sitting on too many boards, then there isn't a diversity of ideas and thought because my ideas and thoughts, as you tend to end up speaking for groups sometimes, is that's what it is. And so I don't think that's healthy and I don't think it's good. I'm not going to use the word dangerous because that's hyperbole. But I don't think it's healthy, especially for growth. And so you need different people to sit on boards. And so for me, I'm only going to sit on a very few amount of boards. And I don't want there to be overlap in that. And I also want to be connective tissue whenever I can be that and bring organizations together. And so I felt like the library was a good fit. And it just does so many great things. A library is good. Get Zap Strong, been working with them for a long time. Living Life Leadership through Akuye, of course. Marvin Williams Center, they've been doing some really good things. We've been pushing that out. They had their fundraiser, and we, gave them money to support their effort. Shout out to uh, Martitha May. Now, Martitha gets a lot of horns, right? If you don't know Martitha, say it sucks to be you. You need to meet her because she's an awesome woman. She has a huge, huge heart. And people say that all the time. But in her case, that's every time I've gotten COVID, Martitha is calling me. I still have her picture where she dropped some tea off on my porch the first time I got it really bad a couple of years ago. I still have her picture, right? She brought me some Mexican food, went to the restaurant, dropped it off for me. And I was like, man, I barely know her, you know? And she's just looking out. She gave me a call, invited me to her birthday. Um, and so I think, did I have COVID? Something was going on. And so I didn't get a chance to respond to her. And so she had reached out to me. And when I didn't respond, she had like reached out to me in another channel. It's like, all right, I'll try to hit him on Facebook, right? Normally I'm super accessible. And so I just didn't get a chance to respond and let her know, like, I'm not going to miss your birthday. I'll be there for your celebration. I'm going to be there. And so I never did get a chance to tell her. So when I walk in the door, she was like, oh, Mawan, you came. It's like, Martita, I wasn't going to miss this. Um, but man, definitely someone you want to know. Someone who is genuine in their care about you and the community. A tireless warrior and advocate in this community. I can't say enough things, uh, good things about Martita. Mount Zion, shout out to them. This was my dad's church when he was living in Bremerton. He played the organ for them with when Pastor Rochelle was there, and I guess First Lady Cherry Rochelle was like the minister of music there, I would say. And so that will always have a special place for me. And you got Pastor Richmond there, who is now the pastor, and they're doing a lot of good things. And I like to see the variance. One of the things that I respect about Mount Zion is their PYA program. Pastor Richmond is big on Black health, and so there's a big push that, and I don't know when it started, but it was pretty prominent in 2022, pushing health. So I have a lot of respect for that, and so yeah, I think that's awesome what they're doing there. And then of course, Mama, I met her this year. Shout out to her. She is tireless and one hell of an organizer, and really provides things for people to do in Kitsap County. So many times I hear, "Oh, it's Kidnap County. There ain't nothing to do in the county." And they're like, "Please, my mind's always got something going on, whether it's a comedy show or coming and hanging out, and good, clean fun. A place to go, something to do." Where you're gonna have a good time, you're gonna have some adult fun, and then she's also doing some, stuff for the kids. Uh, so I love to see that. Definitely love supporting that. NAACP, supporting them. And a lot of information has been coming out from the new president, Robert Harris. So he drops me a line in Facebook and said, "Hey, can you push this out?" And I go and I push it out. I don't even even respond to him all the time, but up here's the podcast. Hey, there's a $150 opportunity for youth. Hey, there's a focus group that's going on. Hey, this is what's going on. Black women are supreme. And pushing those things out. Now, of course, I got to talk about New Horizon Ministries, our partner. Now, Pastor Ellington up there, he wants us to be the Black Salvation Army, if you will. We're not going to call it that, but the one thing that I really love about, well, there's lots of things I love about Pastor Ellington, but I love how grounded and down to earth he is. Right? If you see us both in person, you might think I was the pastor and he was, the deacon or just someone in the church, and it's so refreshing that he does not want to put people off by wearing a tie. When they say "come as you are," he truly means that. He's like, "Call me Michael." That's different. He's not standing on ceremony. He's not standing on title. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. To the point where I was raised, and so I will not call him Michael. I will call him the Rev, right? And that's as close as I can get to informal, right? Hey, Rev. And I was just raised that way. But he's so accessible. He's so much of the people, in the street. And so I've got a lot of respect for that. And because of that, it's where we have our pancake breakfast. It's where our computers are. And we try to support his ministry as he helps us to do ours. And so that's just one of the things, I was sharing earlier that, church services on Saturday is something that he changed. And he was addressing the issue with, hey, folks they love their Seahawks. They love their Saints. I don't know why there's so many Saints fans in Kitsap County. It's so bizarre. But if that is going to keep you from going to church, then you know what? I'm going to change the day. You know what? Hey, there's no bus service on Sundays, but there is bus service on Saturday. I'm making it on Saturday. Oh, and hey, by the way, our new building is right across the street from the transit center. Not only that, but I have condensed church service. So you're not going to be in church all day. You're going to get what you need. But we're going to make it in a format, in a way that you can get fed, you can get the word, and you can go on about your day and get your things done. Because so many of us are at work, at work, at work, at work. We're trying to pay. We're trying to keep our head above water. And we've got errands to run, or we got to go to work, or we got to do what we got to do. Right? He's broadcasting online. And so he's constantly trying to innovate and find ways to engage with the community. That is huge. Tremendous amount of respect for him and that body there. Northwest Hospitality, shout out to Anton. I love innovation, right? I really love innovation. And he is all about the unhoused and the things that he's done, very kindred spirits, right? We both started our organizations in our house. It's my living room. You know what I mean? Uh, and the things that he has been able to do and accomplish has been phenomenal. And so we love being able to support him and his fundraiser, uh, and promote and lift him up in what he and his organization is doing. So we love to see the growth. OESD 114. I don't know if I should say who's behind the mask on that, but if you watch a lot of the podcasts, you will see OESD commenting on many of our podcasts for the resources that we're pushing out and the information, right? And so we'll just give that person a, and if they want to make themselves known, just let me know, and I'll call you out, and I'll tell everyone who the person is behind the OESD 114. But that is the school district, by the way. Olympic College, we cover the board meetings there. And this is super important, right? Enrollment is down. There's some issues that are going on with there's just issues that are going on at that institution. But you have to understand how much of a game changer Olympic College can be in so many folks' lives. Just sharing earlier with Hank, like, look, when I fell off the scaffold and destroyed my back, and it was like, I got to use my mind. I can't use my body anymore. I went to Olympic College, right? Little did I know was a kid who only went to the ninth grade and got his GED at 16 would end up teaching at the college that he went to. Years later, I was a student there in 97. Can't remember when I graduated, 97, 98. And I ended up teaching there in 2012, 2013. I I couldn't. There's no that wasn't even in my mindset, right? That's crazy. OSPI, this last year was our second year providing school food to school age children 0 to 18. We were making about 90 meals per day during the summer. And there are strict requirements to make sure that they meet the USDA and the OSPI nutrition requirements. And we wanted to do something different and not just give, because there's a couple things you could do. You could just hand out the food that the school district gives you, which blah meh, that's what that food is, honestly. Or you could create something and serve it. And so what our staff wanted to do was to help kids to explore their palates, give them different flavors, uh, educate them, and give them experiences of food that they wouldn't normally have. Right? I didn't have hummus until I was an adult. Right? I don't know what stromboli is. I didn't find out what stromboli was until I was an adult. But putting these things together and, spinach and all these different things in ways where kids are like, man, this is great. And you know what? It's actually good for me. And I never even heard of these things before. Yes, I want some more of that. And getting the feedback from the daycare center where we were providing food to, uh, and to Shaylin, shout out to her, to the juniors in her STEM program, you know. So from the really little ones to the ones that are getting ready to graduate and exposing them to and educating them on different foods and different experiences. It's only going to change if we do that. Peninsula Community Health Center, Project Connect, again, January 24th and 26th. Matter of fact, I don't even know if I can find the post, but the post that I put out a few weeks ago has over 1,100 views. This is probably the most viewed thing that G2 has put out, uh, which is quite amazing. And so the unhoused and folks that are experiencing food and housing insecurity need your help. And so check some of the other podcasts on that. And Project Connect hasn't been around in 2 years. And so we want to be a part of that. The reentry program with Janelle McFeet, who has now moved on into a new position. So shout out to her. We were providing transportation way out there for her folks, right, and supporting that program, Resilient Ecosystems. Big shout out. I'm gonna give Mark 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm actually the president of Resilient Ecosystems, and that is our most consistent show. We did 40 something shows consecutively in 2022. There's only 52 weeks in a year. We did 40 something shows because we didn't start off in the beginning of the year. That's consistency. And if you don't know Mark, he's a good guy to get to know. And for Mark, he really is about trying to build community. He really is. And I have had to advocate for Mark, for people that didn't understand where he was coming from or felt some kind of way, right? We can see demons in places that they are not. Some folks are like, oh, it's the patriarchy, white man, evil, bad, and that just isn't the case. And while, he is not well versed on all things social justice, he is a compassionate individual. He's empathetic individual, but he's also an open-minded individual, right? And I want to be really careful and not use a pejorative in the way that sometimes people talk about black folks when they say, "Oh, you're very articulate," "You're so well spoken," right? And that's a pejorative. It's a dig, right? So I want to be careful and not do that. I've got a tremendous amount of respect for Mark Boatwright Frost and his efforts, right? The things that he doesn't have to do, doesn't need to do, but he wants to bring people together and he's seeing the issues that are there. I kind of look at him as a, oh, how do I say this? Kitsap Strong projects themselves to be that way, right? They bring people together. The thing with Kitsap Strong is they've got money, right? So they're able to, spend thousands of dollars and get people to come to the Marvel Williams Center and feed them food and have handouts and glossy things, and that's great and important. And with Mark, it's like, hey, let's meet in the library. Let's meet in this distillery and let's talk about the four agreements, uh, and how we can be good neighbors, how we can advocate and just really at a human level, not at a organization level. How can we do our missions more abundantly and what aces are, and all those things are good. But hey, the barbecues that I said that we were doing, that was because of resilient ecosystems. You know, hey, here's some food. Let's have a barbecue. Come out. Hey, I'm R1. Who are you? Hey, I'm Mark. Hey, nice to know you. I live two houses down. Oh, yeah, yeah. What do you do? Well, I do this. What do you do? I do that. Oh man, that's cool. Now we've got a little bit more of a relationship than we had before. And maybe that blossoms into something else. Maybe we can do a community garden. Maybe we can do something to advocate for our street. We need a sidewalk. We need lights. We need whatever the case may be. There's power in numbers. We have support. There's safety in numbers. That's Mark. That's resilient ecosystems. No money, just trying to share his experience, his insight, what he believes is important from a human standpoint, we the people. And that is the reason why I do that show every week at 1 p.m. Tipping point and puzzle pieces. Bringing your puzzle piece together. And I love that because what it means is it is inclusive. It means that everybody belongs and everyone has a piece. And you get to bring your puzzle. We don't tell you what your puzzle piece is. I love that philosophy. And I tell folks there's three types of people, right? They're going to fall into three groups. They're going to be the ones that are part of your choir, right? They drink the Kool-Aid. They believe everything that you say. Yeah, yeah, we on the same side. You go, girl. You go, boy. You're going to have the people at the other end of the spectrum. And they're so far left, they're so far right. There's nothing you can say or do. You're not going to be able to sway those people at all. And there's all these folks in the middle, right? These are the folks that are afraid, apathetic, untrusting, unsure, questioning, looking, searching. They're all the things in the middle. And these are the folks that if you invest time in them, you can pull them unto you and build we the people. And so he is about that middle, right? And he'll even talk to the people that are at the far end of the other side of the spectrum. And so often we can get caught up in, yeah, you know what? I ain't got time for that. Then people feel like that and this, that, and the other. It's whatever. And I think that's unfortunate when um, Teresa Jones, shout out to Dr. Jones at OC. She ain't there anymore. She's an awesome lady. And Cheryl Nunez when she was there. And they started the diversity conference there. Right? There was so much resistance on that diversity conference. And in that, they would have all these breakout sessions and whatnot. And I remember that folks would get attacked, right? And there are some people that would ask questions, and you could tell they weren't being genuine. They were trying to undermine the situation. But you also had people that were truly curious and didn't know in the situation black people, and they had these questions, and it was taboo or dead wrong to ask. And this was the forum that was created to ask those questions, to inquire. And they thought that they were in a safe space to ask these questions. And so often the, the situation would flip. And so there's a power dynamic, right? Where the dominant society has this power, right? And then now we've created this diversity conference, and now it's flipped the other way. And so now you have the power. And it's like hammer and nail right now, right? And that was unfortunate. And I think some people retreated back and they said, "Hey, this was that time that, maybe I can explore and I can ask these questions in a safe space and gain an understanding." These are things that are going on in my mind. It has to do with your hair or how you think or why we do something the way that we do. So telling someone, "Oh, you need to read about it," and I'm not here to tell you to da 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 da. It's like this was the learning space. This was that opportunity. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So, I think sometimes Mark is misunderstood in that regard. And but he's a good dude for sure. Very caring guy. And if we're gonna get forward, we're working for the people that are in the middle. Right? We're working for the people in the middle. And he likes to aim at the people in the middle, right? The sheep that are in the pen, they're cool. It's the sheep that's not in the pen that you got to go and get. Salvation Army, we've done a lot of work with the Army. We provide transportation with them and a lot of things when Dawn Michelle was there. Shout out to Dawn Michelle. She is an unsung hero, and folks have no idea what she did during COVID uh, for Salvation Army. Right? She was her own army, powerful leader, and advocate for people. Sinclair, Pastor Frankie, a lot of respect for him. We had, I believe this was last year. I think this was at the beginning of the year. We had Dr. Yaw on talking about prostate cancer and black men and how important it is to get checked out. And, Pastor Frankie, he's on. You never know when he's watching, but he'll usually say something when he's on. I, did my little quick broadcast before I went and got my drugs in me before I had my back procedure yesterday. He's like, "Hey, brother Marwan," and he's on and he's supportive. And, he makes time and he provides input and he shares information and he, creates space and opportunities at his church. A lot of respect for Pastor Frankie. Surviving Change. Wow, see Deborah Jackson just be coming on here all the time, right? Tara Simmons, huge advocate for justice impacted folks and, her reelection campaign and her advocacy. And one of the things that I appreciate about Tara, right, is, she's got a black child. And so I shared with her the black political agenda. And she said, "You know what? I hadn't heard of these things, but I'm open and I'm receptive." And so we'll be sharing some things with her today because we're not a monolith, right? And everything that black men in particular uh, that's important to us from a political standpoint isn't what is pushed in the mainstream media. There's so much more than that. And so she's open and she's receptive to that. Right. So we appreciate that. She also sees the value in the conduit. Tones Fitness, shout out to Brandon there. Love to see young black entrepreneurs, which is great. I think that is fantastic and awesome. Up from Slavery Initiative, of course, they're new. You can see all the great things that they're doing. I remember when they were first forming, and Daryl invited me and Layla out to Maynard's to sit and share with us what Up From Slavery Initiative was about and what they were going to do. And so, so supportive of them. It was like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and gift 2 computers, and actually gave him G2's business plan. It's like, hey, use what you can, if that helps. And keep in mind, I think a lot of people may not know, because I don't talk too much about our history, because we've been around for a while now, right? When we first started, shout out to Erica Duncan, who's our consultant. Black woman, NYU grad. That's our consultant living out in Spain. Shout out to Erica. Uh, she created our business plan. And at the time, when you're creating a 501c3, when you're trying to do the work right now, right? It takes time. You don't just turn in your paperwork and it's like, oh, yep, you're a 501c3. There's a waiting period, and it's months, right? And so the only way to get around that is to be fiscally sponsored. And so we took that to KCF, and I presented the information, right? And it's like, we're looking for fiscal sponsorship till we can get our 501c3 status. And what I was told, I believe that was Cole back there, Cole Medina, I think was his name, way back when. And what he said to me was, hey, uh, we do not, so many people, he was like, literally dozens of organizations come to them every year and ask to be fiscally sponsored. And we say no a whole lot, right? Because you really have to have, um, your idea flushed out, right? And so, people will have good ideas, but they're not ready. And it's like, but for us, nah, it was cool. We were one of the few that were accepted. I think he said 6 that year out of like 40 or something that tried to get fiscal sponsorship. And so we went and we got that fiscal sponsorship. And then right after that, we got our 501c3 status. So and we didn't even know it. It had come so fast. We almost didn't even need the fiscal sponsorship, which was pretty crazy. But shout out to Erica. And so we were just, having a conversation at our last board meeting. And as we look back at the business plan, it's like, oh man, that's not even what we do now, right? We do so much more than that, and it looks so rudimentary to us now. 5 years removed from it, right? And so what I was sharing with our staff was, remember in the beginning, this is what we were. We were trying to figure it out, and we were passionate about providing transportation and food and case management and these things. Um, and this is how we were going to do it, right? And we needed to get started. And back then, it was this huge thing. I mean, this thing's like 30 pages long, right? But now we're so much more than that. We've so been blessed and outgrown that, and it's so phenomenal. Such a big deal, right? And so we share those things openly because we liked what they were doing, and then covered their race and equity summit for them. And so that's big. There's one that I left off in the K's that I wanted to go back and show and advocate for. Kitsap Custom Tees. Shout out to Brandon Barnes. Talking about young Black entrepreneurs. So Kitsap Custom Tees is exactly what you think it is. T-shirts, right? So he puts logos on things. You saw our Cameron's Kitchen aprons, right? Kitsap Custom Tees did those. You've seen some of our latest T-shirts. I've got a lot of tees, pocket tees in different colors because I love my colors with our logo on there. That's Kitsap Custom Tees. Does good work. Great brother, and even better father. So Kitsap Custom Tees, look them up. Like I said, I just love young brothers doing things. And that's why I left off at Tones Fitness, soon to be known as Anubis, right? So I should say AKA Anubis. And that is on 900 Pacific Avenue. So great space, a gym and doing great things. Definitely a visionary young brother, doing some stuff which is great. The United Way, West Sound Treatment Center, Youth for Christ. We actually donated $500 to their fundraiser last year, and we were what do you call that? A sponsor of their event, which was great. We use their kitchen from time to time to prepare our meals for the things that we do. And like I said, this isn't even the full list. These were just the things as I was, creating my notes to have this discussion. 58 organizations that we have tangibly supported and worked with over the course of just 2022. This is just 2022, right? So if you're looking at that, uh, again, we can round that to 60. It's probably closer to 70 or 80, but let's call it 60, right? For lack of a better word. And if you do not appear on here, please forgive me because, I could put Faith Temple on there. They did an event that we did for them. Oh, Goodwill. We worked with them. I feel some kind of way about Goodwill right now, which is why they're not on this list. But I will put them on there. GOOD should be here. So yeah, I'm feeling some kind of way about Goodwill, which is why they're not on there. And that's a story for another day. Faith Temple, they actually had a really great event this last year, and we went out and covered their event. And so they quietly just go on the mission of doing their work. But we are at 60 organizations, 60. 60 divided by 12 months, that's 5 organizations per month, right? I said, I challenge you to meet 5 new people per month. For us, tangibly, on average, we're working with 5 agencies per month in a tangible, significant way. That's a lot of work. There's a lot of work that we did. We punched so far above our belt. People think that we're like 20 and 30 people strong, and we're not. That's a secret. You didn't hear that from me though. Shh. You didn't hear that from me. But I'm so appreciative of all the volunteers and the staff of G2, those that are still with us hanging in there, those of us that are no longer with us for whatever the reason was. I thank them for their service and their commitment during the time that they were here. Uh, so very important, the work that we do. In 2023, one of the things that we're going to try to work on here is making our calendar. Let me fix this here really quick here. Making our calendar more, what's the word? Just kind of charting things out a little clearer and uh, more in advance so people can follow along in regards to what it is we're doing. In regards to what we're doing, excuse me. Let me go ahead and get this all on a new page here. Boom, boom. So this is our 2023 calendar, and you can see we're busy, man. Uh, Tuesday, we've got the library on. Now, I am going to send a message to Priya, but I don't think we have a garage. The struts came. So what we were going to do, what we talked about last month was both of our trunks, our struts have worn out in there, so we need to replace them. My struts came I think day before yesterday. And so all right, it's here. And so we're going to use the Chilton books, which you can find at Kitsap Regional Library, and check them out for free and use that information to repair your vehicle. And so we were going to do that to demonstrate how awesome the library is and all the different resources that they have there. And so we were going to get our little novel selves out there and change those things ourselves. I don't have any skills in that department, and neither does she. But we were going to use the resources that the library has to encourage people to take advantage of what's there. Of course, tipping points and puzzle pieces, city council meeting. BEMA has their events coming up on January 13th and 15th. We'll be at Fairgrounds on the 16th. Of course, the Olympic College Board meeting. Uh, I have, I need to provide this meeting for the Bremerton Audit Committee. I am on that committee for the next 3 years, I think, is that appointment. And so, the money is really important. Understanding the money for the city, where it goes to, making sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So I want to share that information now. And what I told them in the interview as I applied for this committee position was, I don't know how the audit committee works, right? I'm ignorant in this regard. However, what I told them is it's supposed to be we the people. And a true democracy is a democracy of the informed and those that are participating in democracy, in our democracy. And so, uh, to that end, the money is important. And so, I want to be a part of this committee to learn, but also to share information out. And I was voted in unanimous by the current audit uh, uh, committee. Project Connect, again, is going to be on the 24th, 25th, and 26th. Of course, I am a board member for the Kitsap Regional Library. This also happens to be my birthday. I am quite busy on my birthday, so I don't think I'm going to be celebrating my birthday on my birthday, mainly because, hey, man, there's work to do. And this is not a personal list. So Layla has gymnastic events. She's got, cello events. Layla is just as busy as dad is. Our pancake breakfast will continue on. Central Kitsap School Board meeting, the Black Collective. I don't know when they're meeting. Uh, and this is just some of the things on the list. I'm covering an event for Bailey that's coming up here in the first week of January. So you'll see us down there. And that's new. I haven't even had a chance to add that on, but I'll be trying to create this. If you have something that you want us to cover, if you can let us know as soon as possible, that will be helpful. We will be getting out our fees to cover those things so that we are able to do the work that it is that we do as we grow and expand. Okay. And I think these are just my notes here in February. So we're just kind of building these things out. Do earmark February 25th for the 10th annual Washington State African American Achievement Awards, which is going to be Saturday at 4 p.m. at the Marvel Williams Center, hosted by Deborah Jackson. And like I said, we're just kind of building these things out. I didn't highlight all of that. Boom. People were telling me I need to put some classes, some trainings behind a paywall. So I may be working on that into the next year and giving folks a different option, maybe than, uh, going to the college and taking a class for an entire quarter. Whether it's trying to learn how to use Google Docs, getting into podcasting, consulting on equipment. So we may be doing some of those things this year. So a lot of things that we have planned. We're just going to continue to build on and refine what it is that we do. G2, our mission is, or our vision is self-sufficiency for all Kitsap County residents and beyond. And we do that in a variety of unique ways, whether it's allowing people to use our vehicles to practice their driving for a drive test, helping people cover their mortgage, uh, providing transportation for parent-child handoffs. We have done so many different unique things in 22, and it's one of the benefits of being small, right? We are not the Titanic. We don't need an act of Congress to decide to do things. It's whether or not we can do it, and if we can do it, we try to do it, and that is one of the things of being nimble and being small. So I say we're more like a dinghy versus maybe a United Way or KCR that is more like a Titanic, right? They cannot turn quickly and pivot. where we're able to say, hey, you know what, we can do that. Let's go ahead and get some grills and go out and start barbecuing. Hey, let's do a pancake breakfast over here. Let's let this person, use our vehicles, and let's get them their license so that they can be empowered and not and be mobile and take care of themselves and their family and thrive. You know, let's go ahead and cover this event and elevate these folks or this issue. Let's advocate for bathrooms for the unhoused. Uh, let's have a podcast. Let's do events with kids and create spaces for kids to learn and have experiences and things that they've never done before, like make candles or go to a haunted mansion or or haunted playground out in the woods. Just all the things that we can do. Hey, let's have a game night for black folks in the community to come and have kind of that old school feel, when you're in the basement and you got the 70s music playing and your parents while you're growing up, they just having a good time playing spades and doing their thing. Or you're at the Hickory House for those that remember that. And so just having food and drink and being able to socialize and let your hair down, so to speak, and play dominoes or Uno or spades or bidwiz or just talk and laugh and hang out. Life is hard. There's so many stressors and things that are going on. We don't have a lot of opportunity just to have fun. Just to man, it's good to see you. Yeah, so much fun. Domino, spades. Y'all wasn't gonna be able to. Let's set book. Yo, yeah, get up. And just have that good time. Boy, this fried chicken is good. What? Who made this drink? Boy, this drink good, boy. And just have fun. Just good, clean fun. No one's tripping. No one's acting a fool. There's no drama, there's no issues, and we come together, right? And we can be reinvigorated. You would be surprised how many people thank us at the end of the night and just say how much they needed that space to be able to just unwind and be themselves and laugh, just let their shoulders down, right? And just be, I want to say vulnerable, but just have a good time. Not have to have the armor, you know, up all the time. We just walk through life with our armor up, with our weapons ready to go, and that's hard, right? That's stressful. So to be able to put your shield down for a little bit, put your sword down, pick up a fork, pick up some cards, pick up some dominoes, and laugh and just have a good time. It's rejuvenating. It helps for you to get back into the fight, to remember what it is that you're fighting for. Game night seems so trivial when it's actually such a big deal for our older folks that don't have a place for them. They're not going to go to McLeod's. They're not going to go to the garage, right? They're not going to go to a comedy show. But they'll come to that. And it gets them out of the house and they have the nostalgia. You should hear the stories of folks reminiscing and talking about how they was this and that in the back of the day and how the young ones ain't got nothing on them and their song comes on and they're all singing and having a good time. I don't even know if I could write a grant for funding for that and really capture how important that is in our community to have a space like that. But that's something that happened in 22. And understand how that came about. Some of the best things in life have come about indirectly and not from the intention. So, G2, right? I will throw events just for my staff all the time and invite some other folks in, right? And it's at my house. I was like, hey, we're gonna barbecue. Stephanie's gonna throw some ribeyes on the grill, and we're just gonna hang out, you know, and and just have a good time. It's a Friday afternoon. There's no special occasion. It's just we just need to recharge. And so I had one of those, and Deborah wasn't able to come. And so, some time had passed. She was like, "Hey, I thought you said you was gonna throw this party." And I was like, "Yeah, I did, but you didn't come." She's like, "Well, you need to do another one because you said yada yada yada." That's how game night came up. I was already having my get-togethers when I would have them, right? But she wasn't able to come. She said, "Hey, remember you said you was gonna do?" It's like, "Oh, I did." Well, you need to do it. That's how it came up. And then we started renting out Prince Hall. Oh, I didn't even put Prince Hall on there, 61. See what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and put that on there. Prince Hall Masonic Temple. I mean, just so many. That's what I'm saying. I apologize if I left you off. Prince Hall Masonic Temple. You're number 49 on that. And now we're doing this game night. And it's every fourth Saturday of the month. We're not doing one in January, we'll do one in February. But folks are so appreciative of that. And it's not cheap to throw. Please understand that thing costs. But we don't own property, and that's a problem in the Black community. And so we don't have a space to do that where we're not going to be charged to have an event. But it's so critical, it's so important to have the foods. And while I don't like those foods, all of them, like I'm not eating no chitlins, I ain't getting down with that. Those that do eat chitlins appreciate it. You made pig's feet? You made fried barbecue ribs? Man, I ain't never had no fried ribs before. Man, you made meatloaf. Oh, the meatloaf was slapping. Okay. Fried chicken's always gonna be there, mac and cheese, you know. Our food. The food that you're not gonna drive around and get. It's coming. It's like a holiday feast. Once a month. Like it's October. What's going on, boy? It's like Christmas up in here. It's like a super Christmas up in here. What? We work hard. We fight. We advocate. We do the work. But we also need to smile, to enjoy life, to have things in perspective, to have things in balance. I encourage you in 2023 to find that balance, to operate from a sense of urgency because we're behind. We're behind. And it doesn't matter who you are, you're behind. You're behind in something. You're behind in your personal growth. You're behind in your professional growth. We're going into a recession. Some people didn't recover from COVID. Some people didn't recover from the housing crisis in 2008 and got hit with COVID. Some people have chronic health issues. Other folks are going through a separation or a divorce, single parent issues. There's so many different things. Some people are going through A through Z, and somehow they're still here. All the things. What do they say? What do people say now? That part. That part. It's hard. What are you carrying around? How much are you carrying around? What can you let go of? While you still try to get to a point where you're not just treading water, where you can begin to backstroke a little bit and just float and relax, where you can exercise locus of control, where you are in command of your own destiny, where you're not just being pushed to or fro because life is just knocking you the hell around. Knock life around. And I know that's easier said than done. And it sounds very cliche, but there are ways that you can do it. You do it together. There's power in numbers. You have to figure out this year how to put away those petty things, how to put away those fights, those disagreements, how to put away not being able to move forward with someone that you don't agree with. and finding common ground. I disagree on A, B, C, D, E, and F, but you know what? We can get down on I, J, and K. So let's go. And I, J, and K is going to be the bomb. It's going to be strong, tight. And maybe we can start to look at A, B, C, D, E, and F. Maybe I can start to understand through your lens, and you can understand through my lens. And through that, we may be able to find a way forward. And if we cannot, maybe in those things we have to be divergent. But at the end of the day, it's still about us, and it's about the people, and it's about the collective, and it's about moving forward. It's about positive growth. So I need to do this way, and you need to do this way. But we're going to make sure that we don't clash. And even if it's different, we're going to walk in parallel. I'm doing this, you're doing that. And whenever we can do it together, we're going to do it together. But we're not going to do this and try to move forward this way, because that does not work. It has not worked. There's a facade of it working, but it becomes a zero-sum game. And when you win, I lose. And when I lose, you win. And we have to find ways for us both to win. So in 2023, my plan is to reinforce those relationships on that list, to add to that list, to refine and improve the things that we do. And we do 4 major things. Transportation, we can do it better. We can do more of it. We can transport more people. We can transport people that are experiencing disabilities. We can get more people to the airport, more people to specialists out of the county. We can provide more services to agencies here in Kitsap County. The food that we provide, we can help support those that are experiencing food insecurity wherever they may be. Case management, helping folks to get TANF or food assistance or childcare or eviction assistance or utility assistance or whatever that resource is. Education, a certificate, a degree, working on getting a new job, working on a resume, working on a cover letter, applying for grants and contracts as they come up, looking at focus groups and opportunities there for equity, whether it's health or employment, nutrition, whatever. Working with different agencies, not just being B1, but whether it's immigration or LGBT, helping to support the causes, elevating folks. Power is taken, it is not given. How can we empower people? When I think of the conduit, which is the 4th one, TIE, the acronym TIE, to teach, to inform, and to elevate. That's what the conduit does. Teach, inform, elevate the voices, elevate the issues. Provide a space for the non-dominant voice, the non-dominant opinions. Don't worry about being perfect in your wording. You don't need to have the vernacular that is spectacular to get your point across. Whether you're using 10-gallon words or 2-ounce sentences, be logical, be thoughtful, share how you feel, but be willing to understand the next person, to truly understand, to learn, to create common ground. When they say things like, first seek ye to understand, we're starved to have our viewpoint understood. No one has heard me. No one's listening to me. My point is important. Yes, it is. But so is theirs. And how novel would that be? I got something to say, but you know what? I want to hear what you have to say first. Wouldn't that be crazy? And mean it. And create space for each other. Because you know what often happens? I need to tell you something. I need you to listen to me. And you rattle all this. Your intent is to rattle all this stuff off. But you go up and you say, I need to tell you something. I need to tell you something too. You go first. And they go first. And there's things that you still need to say. But you know what? I had all these things that I wanted to say to you. But you know, you said this, and that. And I agree with those things. And I was getting ready to say that to you. But I allowed you to speak first. And I can identify the common ground there. So we're good here. We can build on this. Let's talk about the part where we have this disagreement. And let's create a contract on how we're going to interact with each other for those pieces. How novel. Boy. That's 2023 for G2. That's 2023 for the conduit. That's 2023 for Marwan. What is 2023 for you? What are you going to do? What is your New Year's resolution, if that's what it is? What are you going to dare, have the unmitigated gall to try in 2023? To personally develop, to professionally develop? What is that going to do? What can I challenge you with? Pick something not too hard, because you need wins to propel you on. Pick something that is moderately difficult, that is going to take some challenge for you to accomplish. But when you do accomplish it, you're like, I did a hell of a thing. And pick something that's going to be hard for you to accomplish, something that you're likely to fall short on, but something that you are going to work your damnedest to try to achieve, understanding that you're going to fall short. And give 100% effort into it. You know how they say it, you can't teach effort. But man, you sure can see it, and you damn sure respect it. Man, he's trying. He's trying his damnedest, and he is a C student. But you know what? That person over there, that's the A student that they just soak it up like a sponge. They don't even have to try. That's great. You have a gift. That's fantastic. But you know, I got so much more respect for the C because he's working so damn hard for it. And it's like, man, what would it look like if that person who got the A off of not trying had the same effort as the C person? Well, damn. You got two instructors. You've got new innovations. You got new inventions. You got new problem solving. So whether you're an A or a C, effort. In 2023, it's going to take a whole hell of a lot of effort. The effort to forgive, the effort to move on, the effort to cast off the chips, to unburden yourself, to forgive yourself, to give yourself grace, to give the other person grace, to navigate through the pitfalls, to stand up and face the things that you were afraid of, the things you've been making excuses for. I can't. I'm too young. I got kids. I dug a hole. I'm addicted. I'm unhealthy. This, that, and the other. We have so many reasons and so many excuses on why we don't do and why we fall short. Cast those things off. All I can give is effort. And if I fall short, so be it. But you know what? I gave it my all. And most likely, through giving it your all, you are going to experience successes and wins that you didn't know. You're going to surprise yourself at your capability, your ability. You will achieve outcomes that you didn't think you had in you. And don't be afraid of being successful. Some of us are terrified of winning, of being successful, because as soon as we do and people start seeing it, oh, I won, I got to stay in the winner's circle. I don't ever want to win the chip because the expectation is I win the chip next year. That's next year. Worry about winning the chip today for you, for your family, for the community. If you lose tomorrow, so be it. Try to win today. That's what's important today. And give 100% effort when tomorrow gets here. And when the next day gets here, give 100% effort on that day. And remember, in the 4 agreements, well, he's talking about doing the best you can. Always do your best. Your best is going to be different on different days. I am not at my best. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. I'm in a tremendous amount of pain. This is the best that I can do now. But tomorrow, if I'm rested and I'm pain-free, my best is going to look different. I really didn't want to come on tonight, but I had been telling people, hey, this is what I do. And even though I can't mop the floors, I still need to come on and have this conversation. When I came on yesterday, I think it was Joe, was one of the first people that sent the text when I sent the text from the hospital. And I was like, wait a minute, I came on to hear uplifting story to end 22, and you're here getting ready to go, you got a hospital going on. What is going on? Right? That was the best that I could do in that time. I'm getting ready to go through a procedure. And you know what? How can I make this an uplifting experience for others? See, because the wildest things happen, right? People go to the dentist chair and they die. Things happen. Now, not to say that I was worried about that, right? It's a simple outpatient procedure. Painful, but, not typically life-threatening. But you still sign papers. They are giving you drugs. Can't remember what the term is, right? Something can happen. They are in your spine. They can nick or hit something. And I'll tell you what, yesterday was the first time they were like, what gauge are these needles? I don't think these are the right needles. These needles are too big. Like, what? And there was an argument going on. No, these are the 15, 18 gauge needles. And I'm like, I'm already strapped down, which is new. So they got me strapped down. I'm laying on my stomach. I can't go nowhere. What you talking about? You got the wrong needles. What you talking about? They bigger. What's going on? Y'all gonna have to talk to me, right? You're at their mercy right now. That's the thing about tomorrow not being promised. You don't know if you're going to wake up. There are going to be plenty of people that pass away on January 1, 2023. And this was the day that they were going to make the change for the year. And we get so caught up in life, we don't realize how much a gift the next day is. The day that we're in, we woke up this morning and our situation may be shitty and not what we want. We're not where we want to be. But this is the day that the Lord has made. I shall rejoice and be glad in it. This is my opportunity to do better. And though my overall situation may not change, the attitude on which I go through the day in is something that I can try to control. The gratitude jar, which I encourage you all to do and pull that thing out. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for my mind being able to reason. I'm grateful for my eyes that I can see. I'm grateful for these glasses. I just got my new prescription yesterday. I got to wait a few weeks for the glasses. These are all scratched up and everything crazy. But you know what? As scratched up as they are, I can read. I'm thankful for my voice. I'm thankful being on the other side of COVID. I'm thankful that I was able to get the back procedure done. I'm thankful that right now the fireplace is just visual. The heat actually isn't on. But I'm actually comfortable enough that I don't need the heat. I am not outside in the elements. I am blessed. I'm not hungry. Loved ones are checking on me. Folks came by early and brought me clam chowder because that's what I wanted. Wanted clam chowder and ketchup. How random is that? And it was brought to me. You know? Here, let me see. I don't want to hear that. Let me get here. Shut up, Marwan. I said, shut up, Marwan. Let me close this. This is me yesterday, right? Oh, that's probably not coming through. This is me at the hospital. This is 156 views with a bunch of comments. So when I say that I'm blessed and highly favored, if there's times when I'm feeling down, if there's times if I'm feeling depressed, now depressed is, being sad for weeks. So not depressed. But you get times of being lonely and you're sad. So many people that are out there that care about you. And it is beyond the superficial, just Facebook or social media type things. It's genuine. I'm having to turn people down. I'm having to come on and tell folks, I'm okay. It's not that serious. That's a blessing. When I end this podcast, I get to decide what I'm going to do. I go lay on the bed. I could sit on the couch. I could watch Netflix. I can go get a snack. I could have coffee. I could have tea. I could have juice. I could have soda. I have my mind. And even though what am I? This is the first time I got this. I'm a fall risk. I got a cane. I can maneuver. Go and get the cane. Blessed, beyond blessed. Am I living in a mansion? No. Am I in debt? Yes. Do I have the best credit score? Hell no. Am I helping people? Hell yes. Am I making a difference in people's lives? Hell yes. Am I living my best life? Hell yes. Could it be better? Hell yes. Am I going to work toward it? Hell yes. Am I thankful that it can get better? Hell yes. Wouldn't that suck to be at a place in life where it can't get any better? It's just what it is. Nothing else. There's something else. There's something more. I can be better than what I am today in so many different aspects of my life. The challenges, all the things that I have yet to learn, the people that can impart their wisdom on me. I had a 6-7 hour conversation in my living room that I didn't expect to happen. It's one of the reasons why I'm so tired. But to get that knowledge, which is a gift imparted onto me, that someone would spend time and share and tell stories and share Bible verses and make connections and challenge and ask questions, wanting to understand my thought process on things and how I see the world, giving me information. What a blessing that someone cares enough to do that. And we can look at it as an inconvenience. And that's what they mean about blocking your blessings. Be blessed because you are. I'm not physically healthy. I'm mentally healthy. I'm spiritually healthy. And I'm getting better and stronger every day. And there will be days when I'm depleted, and there will be days when I'm short and I'm angry and I'm emotional and I'm petty. And my emotional intelligence is pequeño. But it's not something that I'm going to sit and stew in for long periods of time, because the mind that God gave me is a mind that is going to continue to churn and push through. Because there's no guarantee that you're not going to go through. You're going to have the trials and tribulations. How you go through, you decide that. Doesn't make my pain, my physical pain, any less. I was sharing earlier, I live my life at a pain level of 7. Probably average, probably a 7. Let's say a 6 to a 7. It's what they call debilitating pain. There are so many things that I am not able to do that I wish that I could. Now I can lament that and woes me. And there are days I'm just like, good Lord, Lord, please, Lord. I can't think. I hurt so bad. I can't function because my pain level is so high. Lord, help me get through this. And he does. I say, man, I'm trying to help people, Lord. You know what I'm trying to do. Give me the strength to overcome this. What do I need to do? And give me the strength to do that. And they say, prick your heart. I don't want to be like Pharaoh, where my heart is hardened and I can't change and I can't soften myself. I can't smile. I can't laugh. I can't be happy. Always got to be on guard. I don't want to exist like that. That's why it's such a blessing to have had daughters. You have to be soft with them, right? So I can be silly and goofy with my daughter and laugh. Gives you perspective. I'm a pretty damn serious person. I could be one of the goofiest people you know. You're like, what the hell? That dude is goofy as hell. He's silly as hell. Yeah. Yeah, I don't care what anyone thinks. Don't care. I don't want you to care in that way. Be you. Be the best version of you. Go for it. Even if you fall short, at least you could say you tried it. That is so important. The journey. Again, one of those cliche things. It's not the destination, it's the journey. It's like when you watch a really good TV show for seasons and seasons and seasons, and then it finally ends. You're like, that was kind of anticlimactic, right? I've been watching Walking Dead for 10 years, 10 seasons, and it just kind of, I don't even care about this last season. But the first 6 or 7 was awesome. Game of Thrones, whatever it is that you're watching. Oh man, this is crazy. This is good. The journey. Because sometimes we get to the end and it's like, yeah, okay. It's the end. They say, smell the roses. Stop and smell the roses. Stop and give the flowers. And to finish that sentence, when they say give people their flowers while they're here, give the flowers to them while they can smell them. Don't put them on their tombstone, on their urn. Give them their flowers while they can smell them. We're losing people daily, weekly. I couldn't do what Deborah does. I couldn't, prepare bodies after bodies and deal with family after family, loss after loss. That would be too much. But we all have our roles to play, and God gives us what He gives us. And then she's built for that. That's a gift. Please find your joy. Find balance in 2023. I'm excited to see what you're going to do. I'm excited to share your wins. I'm excited to support you while you're struggling. I have high expectations for you. Lord knows I do. Right or wrong, I have high expectations for you. My father had high expectations for me. I have high expectations for my daughter. I have high expectations for the people that are in my life. I have high expectations for those that say they want to change their life and do different things. My bar for you is not here. My bar for you is here. And I want you to effort here. Because don't you deserve that? Don't you deserve that? You don't deserve this. So I have high expectations for you. Your potential is exponential. I shared with y'all last year that I feel like it's the matrix. And when I look at people, I see them in the matrix code, that green code going down vertically, right? That's how I see it. And so I see the code in people. I see the potential in people. And it's so disappointing when they don't live up to their potential. The conversations that I have with folks, and sometimes it's cap. Yeah, I want to do this. I want to do that. Da 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 da. Or they tell you what they want. What they want you to hear, or they tell you what they think you want to hear. And it's like, well, you ain't doing nothing but fooling yourself. Because at the end of the day, I'll be disappointed, but you got to live with you. So be honest with yourself, but effort. Just effort that. Doesn't matter if you fall short. The effort. My expectation is always going to be so much higher than this for you because you're worth it. You're worth this. This is beneath you. You're so worth this. Please believe you're worth this and effort toward this. It's okay if you fall short. We're having a discussion on the prodigal son. When the prodigal son, that self-awareness, comes home, has an understanding. Come home. Go back to that effort. Whatever home is. Home may be G2. Maybe home might be Marwan. But home may be your father. Home may be your mother. Home may be your children. Home may be your mentor. Maybe going back to meetings. Maybe setting up UAs just to help hold you accountable. Whatever that is, you are worth it. You're worth it. The expectations are high. And as my dad taught me, sometimes I have to love you from a distance because there are requirements to be in the space with me. As I tell people, there's you turn into your parents, man, I swear. There's worse hotels than mine. And some people are from Missouri. They're from the Show Me State. And they got to go out there and have their hubris of, I don't need you. I'll just do it on my own. I don't need this. I don't need that. I got it. And they go out there. Okay. They do good for a while. And my hope actually is that they're so convicted. And so I'm going to show you that they actually do. That's actually my hope. It's like, yeah, go ahead. Use that anger. Channel that anger into something positive. Because right now, this is where you're at. But if you're angry and that means that you shooting up here, like, I'm going to show him I don't need you. And you get up here, you win. That's all I want for you. It's the best. Happiness, successful, content, self-actualization. You deserve it. You need to understand that that's what self-love is. That's what self-care is. And once you understand self-love and self-care truly, effort, effort, effort. Ask yourself right now, am I doing the best that I can right now? And if you're not, start doing the best you can right now. Whatever that is, you may be sick. You may be hungover. You may be high. You may be in pain. You may be sad. You may be alone. Do the best you can right now. Don't take another sip. Don't take another hit. Pour it down the drain. Go to a meeting. Call a friend. Send a text. Write an email. Write down a plan. Tell yourself that you love you. I love me. I love you. I am worthy. You are worthy. You are needed. You make a difference. You're important. You're significant. There is something that other people need that you have to give. It's 2023. You can change it now. Doesn't matter what you did for the last week, the last month, the last year, the last 5 years, the last 10 years. It's a new day. And the worst judge is you. It's not Kidnap County. The only true prison is the prison of your mind. Think about the conversations with Mandela and all those years of incarceration and how he came out on the other side. I'm not minimizing your experience, but there's always something or someone that had something so much worse. Lean on that. What did they do? What did they say? How did they think? Your potential, your power is untapped, unrealized, raw, awesome. Be awesome in 2023. I'm Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. I love you. May God keep you, and I will see you this year, y'all. All right.